Thousands of years ago, food scarcity was a way of life. Hunger and uncertainty were part of the struggle for survival. Our ancestors were often forced to go for days without a proper meal, with their fate depending on the success of a hunt or harvest. Rather than breaking down under these conditions, chronic scarcity led to a remarkable adaptation. Our body developed an elaborate emergency program. In times of shortage, it began to mobilize stored fat reserves to provide energy. At the same time, damaged cellular components were recycled, a process that not only secured energy production, but also ensured that the body remained functional enough to continue searching for food. In addition, inflammatory processes were dialed down to conserve resources and protect the organism from excessive strain. You can think of it like smart household budgeting. When the wallet is empty, you not only reorganize your expenses, but also sell unnecessary items to enable important purchases. This ancient adaptability is still deeply embedded in our genes. Modern science has shown that after extended fasting periods, a fascinating cleansing process is initiated within our cells, autophagy. The term is derived from the Greek autophagian, meaning to eat oneself. During this process, the body breaks down old, damaged, or surplus proteins and recycles them to synthesize new functional building blocks. A central element in this process is the protein mTOR, which acts like a cellular growth switch. Under normal, nutrient-rich conditions, mTOR is active and promotes cell growth and protein synthesis. However, when food becomes scarce, mTOR is downregulated. This reduction causes the body to switch into a maintenance mode, prioritizing the repair and restoration of cellular structures. Not only does this optimize cell function, but it may also explain why fasting helps slow down the aging process. A fascinating discovery by Satoru Hayashida and his team found that just 24 hours without food is enough to flip an important switch in the liver. This switch is called SIRT1, a protein that conducts our metabolic orchestra. Under usual circumstances, it remains relatively inactive, but when we fast, the level of NADase in our cells increases. This rise activates SIRT1. Suddenly, it begins to regulate genes, dampen inflammation, and boost fat burning. But that's not all. Researchers also discovered that another molecule, PPAR-alpha, plays a crucial role. It acts like the mysterious metronome behind the scenes that sets SIRT1 in motion. Laboratory experiments have shown that the higher the NADase level, the more active SIRT1 and PPAR become. However, when the opposing molecule, NADH, which signals that the body is back in feeding mode, rises, these protective mechanisms are weakened. In essence, fasting acts as a finely tuned signal. It forces the body to use its energy reserves more intelligently, rather than relying solely on sugar. At the same time, it protects the cells from aging processes and promotes the body's repair programs. These findings open up exciting perspectives. If PPAR indeed serves as the main switch for SIRT1, it could mean that we might one day be able to specifically target this process, either through fasting or perhaps even with future medications. What sounds like biochemical detail today could soon be used as a key to a longer and healthier life. The mechanisms, the mobilization of fat reserves, the activation of autophagy, and the downregulation of mTOR are impressive testaments to our body's adaptability. They demonstrate how evolutionary processes in the past ensured that humans could survive and evolve even under adverse conditions. Today, we use this knowledge to better understand how fasting not only aids in weight management, but also serves as a powerful regenerator, a bridge between our evolutionary roots and modern approaches to promoting health. Our body is like a hybrid car that flexibly switches between different fuels, sugar and fat. In our modern everyday life, which often promotes frequent and regular eating, sugar usually takes center stage, fueling us like gasoline. However, when a fasting phase is initiated, the glycogen stores gradually deplete and the body turns to stored fat. In the liver, fat is converted into so-called ketones, alternative energy carriers that provide the brain with a constant and efficient energy supply and may also have neuroprotective effects. Scientific studies confirm the positive effects of this metabolic shift on fat metabolism. For instance, a randomized study published in JAMA Network Open in 2023 examined how deliberately promoting ketogenesis, triggered by an extended fasting state, affects various metabolic parameters. Among other things, the study measured the average blood sugar level over an extended period, known as the HbA1c value, which indicates how well the body regulates sugar over several weeks. The investigation found that after 6 months of this extended fasting phase, not only did the average blood sugar level significantly decrease, but body weight and daily insulin requirements were also markedly reduced. Additionally, a study published in Cell Metabolism in 2018 demonstrated that a time-restricted eating window significantly improves insulin sensitivity in men with prediabetes. The resulting reduction in insulin levels acts like a natural reset button for the metabolism, supporting long-term prevention of chronic diseases by reducing inflammatory processes and oxidative stress. Moreover, increased ketone production contributes significantly to optimizing brain function. Research indicates that the additional availability of ketones can lead to improved mental clarity and stability. A study published in Alzheimer's and Dementia in 2019 demonstrated that alternative energy sources have positive effects on memory performance and cognitive abilities, thereby contributing to the preservation of mental performance. Astonishing but true, even a relatively short period of abstaining from food can kickstart the body's ketone factory. Scientists have found that in healthy adults, just 12 to 16 hours without food, a period easily achieved from dinner to breakfast or common in popular intermittent fasting protocols, can cause a measurable rise in blood ketone levels. An analysis from 2018 sheds light on this process. Within these hours, the liver, our central metabolic organ, depletes its sugar reserves, the glycogen stores, and begins to produce ketone bodies, foremost among them beta-hydroxybutyrate. And then there is autophagy, our cellular recycling program, which is hard to capture in living organisms. Based on studies in various animal and cell models, researchers suspect that longer fasting periods in humans, around 24 to 72 hours, significantly boost this self-cleaning process of the cells. Another study examining fasting at the cellular level shows that fasting periods of 24 hours or more likely lead to a much more intense autophagy in humans than shorter fasting intervals. These findings illustrate that the shift from sugar to fat metabolism offers not only short-term but also long-term health benefits, from optimizing metabolism and reducing chronic inflammation to promoting a stable, high-performing brain function. Now to the perhaps most intriguing question: can fasting prevent or even cure diseases? The current research findings in this regard appear promising. Numerous studies describe fasting as potentially health-promoting, as it reduces inflammation, regulates the immune system, and based on preclinical findings, can slow the growth of tumors. Several research teams have investigated how fasting affects cancer cells and found that certain tumor types are particularly sensitive to the nutrient deprivation caused by fasting. In animal models, fasting has been shown not only to restrict tumor growth, but also to improve the effectiveness of chemotherapies. In this state, normal cells enter a protective mode, while cancer cells, which rely on a constant supply of nutrients, are significantly more impaired. For example, a study by Walter Longo and his team at the University of Southern California reported that fasting before chemotherapy reduced side effects, a study published in Science Translational Medicine in 2012. It must be emphasized, however, that fasting cannot replace conventional cancer therapies. The positive effects observed so far come mainly from preclinical studies and individual case reports, so it remains unclear whether these results can be generalized to all types of cancer. Some studies suggest that for certain tumor types, individual fasting cycles may either be insufficient or only provide minimal benefits. For instance, Lee and colleagues reported in 2012 in Science Translational Medicine that in melanomas, resistance developed after a fasting cycle in some cases. Interestingly, that study also showed that combining fasting with chemotherapy significantly enhanced the fasting effect on tumors. There is also evidence from the neurological field that fasting can reduce the risk of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. The shift from glucose to ketone bodies, which provide a more stable and longer-lasting energy supply, improves the brain's energy supply, especially during times of low glucose levels. Simultaneously, autophagy is stimulated, leading to the breakdown of damaged proteins and faulty protein aggregates. Both processes help protect neuronal functions and slow down the aging process in the brain. Mark Mattson has shown in his studies that intermittent fasting improves cognitive functions and protects the brain from harmful influences. These results were published as early as 2003 in Trends in Neurosciences. More recent studies, such as one from Memorial Sloan Kettering in 2024, also detail how fasting reprograms natural killer cells to fight tumors more effectively. This complements previous findings and underscores the potential of fasting as an adjunct measure in medicine. Not everyone is convinced by fasting. Some physicians and nutrition scientists warn that improperly conducted fasting can carry risks. The feared side effects include the breakdown of proteins, leading to muscle loss, hormonal imbalances, such as impairments in thyroid function or the menstrual cycle, and an increased stress burden on the body, manifesting as an elevated release of cortisol. A recently presented study also suggests that intermittent fasting in the form of an 8-hour eating window could have negative effects on the cardiovascular system. The study, presented by researchers from Shanghai Jiaotong University at an American Heart Association (AHA) conference, and based on data from over 20,000 U.S. adults, showed that individuals who consumed all their meals within an 8-hour window had a 91% higher risk of dying from cardiovascular diseases compared to those who spread their meals over 12 to 16 hours. This increased risk was also observed in people who already suffered from cardiovascular diseases or cancer. It is important to emphasize that this investigation is an observational study. The observed correlation does not prove that the 8-hour eating window is the cause of the higher risk. Other factors, such as the quality of the diet or additional lifestyle habits of the participants, could also play a role. Moreover, the data are based on participants' recollections of their eating habits, which can lead to inaccuracies. Furthermore, the study examined long-term effects, whereas many other studies tend to focus on the short-term positive effects of fasting. The result also contradicts earlier research, which mostly highlights the benefits of intermittent fasting. For this reason, it is recommended to seek medical advice before starting a fasting regimen, especially if you have existing conditions such as diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, or eating disorders. Pregnant and breastfeeding women should also avoid fasting, as their regular food intake is essential for the growth and health of their child. Whether fasting is generally healthy when performed under medical supervision and in the absence of pre-existing conditions remains unclear. Many studies focus on the effects of fasting on specific diseases, so it is uncertain to what extent fasting offers advantages or disadvantages for healthy adults. Choosing the right fasting method should be tailored to one's health status and personal needs. Experts like Dr. Peter Attia and Dr. Rhonda Patrick recommend a flexible approach to fasting. One example is burst fasting, where one fasts for 18 hours for 3 to 5 consecutive days and then resumes normal eating. This model is intended to harness the benefits of fasting without overburdening the body. Chronobiologists also emphasize the importance of aligning meal times with the circadian rhythm. Studies have shown that eating in the morning and fasting in the evening can be beneficial, as the body is better able to process food during the day. For example, a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2013, found that a larger breakfast and a smaller dinner had positive effects on weight loss and blood sugar levels. The well-known rule, eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper, underscores the importance of a daily rhythm-adapted diet. Ultimately, it is crucial to listen to your body and choose a fasting method that aligns with your individual goals and health status. Research shows that fasting is more than just a short-term trend. It is an ancient mechanism that our body controls, provided we use it correctly. Whether it is to support cellular cleaning, reduce weight, or as a potential measure in the fight against diseases, the scientific findings are clear. Nonetheless, fasting is not a panacea. It is a method that must be applied with knowledge and caution. It should always be considered as part of a holistic lifestyle that also includes a balanced diet, sufficient sleep, regular exercise, and effective stress management. The crucial question is not whether we should fast, but rather how we can integrate fasting into our lives without causing harm. A moderate approach that takes into account individual needs and scientific evidence is key. For example, during fasting phases, it is important to ensure an adequate intake of fluids, proteins, and electrolytes to prevent dehydration and nutrient deficiencies. Adjustments to physical activity and medication intake may also be necessary. Perhaps it all begins with a simple decision to delay the next meal by a few hours and to allow the body to remember a capability it has never forgotten. This ability has accompanied us throughout history and was a vital survival mechanism. If you enjoyed this episode and want to learn more about fasting, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any more exciting insights into the world of health and science. As always, we wish everyone a long, healthy, and happy life. Until next time.